Good morning, it's Joe Hansen over at the church. Stephanie Yang, it could be afternoon, so good afternoon, or whenever you got to watch this video. Stephanie Yang asked me to make a quick video for people who are missing the child dedication class. So here's just a quick video that I made that is an overview of some of the principles that we're going to be talking about through this class. So sit back, grab a cup of coffee, and check out this video. One of the things I've learned the most as I've prepared for this class is that I've began to be under the realization that Grace and I, my wife and I, are also dedicating our child, and I have no idea necessarily what day it is sometimes. And maybe if you're like me and you're dedicating a brand new child, or you're dedicating a child you adopted, or whatever you're doing for this child dedication, or whoever you're dedicating for this child dedication, you know what, I'm in my short 1 year or so of parenting, I've learned that, man, parenting is a blur, and it's learn as you go, and it's not that easy. People always said, are you ready for this? Or people wait to get to have kids because they don't feel like they're ready, but I honestly don't think you're ever ready. So I'm learning that parenting is tough, and so I've come to this realization, and I don't know if you're reaching this realization, that parenting is just not that easy. Already with just a 1-year-old, I find myself frustrated and mad for no good reason that she's not accepting her food, or she's eating too much, or she doesn't want to go to bed, and it completely changes your life, and it changes your schedule. It changes everything. Everything about life just changes when you're responsible for a child. And one of the twists of all of this is that I'm now learning, and one of the biggest things that we want you to take away from this time is that not only am I, the parent, right, responsible for my daughter's physical needs, which that's demanding enough and hard enough to control, but I, the parent, am also responsible for her spiritual needs, or my child's spiritual needs. So it's this huge responsibility that like I said, I'm walking through this class and this dedication process for myself for the first time, because we just had a child. But I'm realizing the weight of this decision and this place that God has me now as a parent. And it's important for us to realize, wow, I'm in charge of this. I'm responsible for the physical needs, but also the spiritual needs of my child. Here's a couple scripture passages that I'm going to share with the group that really, they kind of just make us realize as parents, God is serious about children, but also I am responsible for the well-being of my child in the spiritual ways too. So here's the first one, is Psalms 127, 1 through 5. And I'm just going to read through some of these, and they're just really good to get our hearts set on what we're about to do through child dedication. Unless the Lord builds the house, the builders labor in vain. Unless the Lord watches over the city, the guards stand watch in vain. In vain you rise early and stay up late, toiling for food to eat. For he grants sleep to those he loves. Children are a heritage from the Lord, offspring a reward from him. Like arrows in the hands of a warrior are children born in one's youth. Blessed is the man whose quiver is full of children. They will not be put to shame when they contend with their opponents in court. Blessed are we that have children in our quiver, because we can train them up to be Christians, to attack the wrong following people, the evil doers, right? So that's cool. That's cool. All right. So that's just a reminder that they are they're arrows. They're going to go one way or the other. We are in charge of their spiritual well-being and raising them up to be warriors for Christ. Another one here, Deuteronomy 5:16. Honor your father and your mother, as the Lord your God has commanded you, so that you may live long and that it may go well with you in the land the Lord your God is giving you. Honor your mother and your father. The Lord has commanded you to do that so that you may live a long and successful life, right? That's talking about the children, but it also reminds us of our roles, that we are responsible to lead our children properly for them to honor us. They become really who we are, but also they become what we parent them to be. Deuteronomy 6:4-7. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your strength. These commandments that I give you today are to be on our hearts. Impress them on your children. Talk about them when you sit at home and when you walk along the road and when you lie down and when you get up. Talk about these commandments. Talk about the Lord. This needs to be pressed on our hearts. Jesus has to be a part of our daily lives, right? That's a reminder there through that scripture. And another scripture here is 1 Samuel 1:27-28. I prayed for this child, and the Lord has granted me what I asked of him. So now I give him to the Lord. For his whole life he will be given over to the Lord. And he worshiped the Lord there. Right? The book of Samuel. I don't know if you've read it before, but Samuel's mom prayed and prayed for a child for a long time. And she promised the Lord that she would give her child to him to serve. And the Lord, after time, blessed, and there came Samuel. I don't know if through your circumstances, we had kind of a crazy birth circumstance, but I remember moments where I just prayed for God to bless us with a child. And I promised him things that I would do my best to raise my children up in the ways of the Lord and to become warriors and kingdom workers for him. And now it's there. But when I read through all of these scriptures, I don't know if when you were listening to these scriptures you thought the same thing, but you probably may have. But I was reminded of the weight of this decision, of the fact that I'm not just in charge of her physical needs, right? But I'm in charge of the spiritual needs of my child. And then it blows me away and I think, what did I get myself into? Is this for real, like me? So that's one of the main points that we want you to take away from this class, is that you are the parent and you're in charge of the physical and spiritual needs of the child. So that's day one. All right, or that's one of our takeaways from this class, is that parents are responsible for the spiritual needs of their children. It's just realizing that you're responsible for that. And second is this, that the church, though, my job as a student pastor, Stephanie Yang, Brian Atha, and the children's ministry team, they're in charge of the spiritual development of your kids from the entire time they're in the church's ministries. But ultimately, you're in charge of spiritual needs. But the church then, our job is to partner with parents to produce kingdom-working students. That's everything that our student and kids ministry, the philosophies of our student and kids ministries are to partner with parents in creating Christians, kingdom workers, people who think like God. We want to partner with and really say the same things as parents, knowing that it takes more than just parents to produce Christians. It takes a community of believers to produce that. And maybe a better way to say this is the church is here to assist you in any way that we can, to partner in teaching, training, holding you and your children accountable to the gospel, and constantly encouraging everyone towards Jesus Christ. The church isn't in charge of the spiritual needs of your children. The church is here to partner in the spiritual development of all believers, but ultimately the parents are in charge of the spiritual development of their kids. So really what this is, all right? So another thing that you need to know is, what is child dedication? What isn't child dedication? What am I doing? What am I getting myself into by dedicating my child? What you're getting yourself into in child dedication is really you dedicating to your child that you are going to do everything you can to raise them up in the way of the Lord. That you realize that the responsibility of spiritual growth and health and physical needs is mine as a parent. Now let me stop and just say, not all parents are perfect. And if I know anything already in my short parenting life, is that I'm learning as I'm going. And so I am going to do, but the point of it is that I'm going to do everything I can, knowing that the grace of God covers me and I don't have to be perfect in my parenting. But I'm going to do everything that I can to lead my children towards Christ. I'm going to do everything I can. I'm dedicating, what child dedication is a parent dedicating themselves to raising their child up in the ways of the Lord. That's the snapshot of what you missed with the class, child dedication class. Us as a church, we just want you to know that child dedication is super important. Child dedication is you as a parent dedicating yourself to raising your child up in the ways of the Lord. It's also important that we take away two other things, right? That the parents are the spiritual providers for their children. They're in charge and responsible for the spiritual needs and the physical needs of their children. But also the church then, we are there to partner with parents in developing children to be Christians and training and equipping in all things that you may need. That's what we hit in this class, and that's why it was important for us to share that with you, because it's huge. Knowing those things, understanding these things is important. It's like parenting 101. Now, it's your turn as a parent, and I hope that this video and this moment urges you as a parent to now start strategizing, how can I have a good Christian parenting strategy? Now, if you have questions or concerns along the way, please reach out to the church, because we want to be a resource to you. But our hope and our desire is that everything through this child dedication process is that you realize and start to begin to dream about raising your children in the way of the Lord and having an awesome Christian parenting strategy and partnering along with the church to raise your children to be Christ followers. Sorry you missed us. I hope this video really helps you understand what child dedication is and really gives you a boost to your Christian parenting, the start of your Christian parenting. Missed you guys. If you have any questions, just let us know here at the church. Talk to you later.